presented by the Strong Blue Line Foundation and powered by Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing, Idaho Falls. Welcome to the podcast, where former San Antonio police officer, author, and pastor Tim Rupp walks you through real-life scenarios involving our police officers and digs into the depths of facts and opinions on each case. This is Cop Talk, and it starts now.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the Strong Blue Lines Cop Talk. Cop Talk. How do you like it? Strong Blue Lines Cop Talk. I'm Tim Rupp.
That sounds
you
good.
Like that? That sound good?
Cop Talk.
I'm Tim Rupp in the Rev.FM studio in beautiful Idaho Falls. Here with me is station manager Gary Austin. Gary, today is March the 20th.
Here we go.
Spring has, well, we'll just say it. Spring is sprung, man. It's here.
Right.
It may not always look like it. But spring is here.
You're right.
Spring's in there.
We got to be near the first day of spring, right?
Yeah, we got to be near the, remember last year, it didn't warm up till July.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it started cooling off about a month later. Anyways, hopefully we'll have a better spring this year.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
We'll have a spring this year.
Yeah.
We just went from winter to summer last year. Anyways, hey, we got a neat show. We're going to talk about Chris Darlington.
Oh.
Ah, yes, a country singer, Chris
Okay.
Darlington. But he's not only a country singer, he's a law enforcement officer, active law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
He's not a reserve.
Pretty cool.
He's a cop.
Yeah.
So he does this.
It's exciting.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
So anyways, but before we do, we're going to talk about our Officer Down Memorial page. We're going to honor the officers who have been killed in the line of duty on this date in history. And so I have one here, Special Officer Richard Bush, Richmond Police Department, Virginia. Oh, he's from the South. This is, of course, Richmond was the capital of the South.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, March 20th, 1870. So it was 5 years after the Civil War. March 20th, 1870. Special Officer Richard Bush was shot and killed at the intersection of Broad Street and Jefferson Street as he and several officers attempted to disperse a large crowd of men who were creating a disturbance. Sounds like something that could have happened recently in America.
Yeah.
When the officers arrived at the location, part of the group left the area, but many refused to leave. Around 9 p.m., several shots were fired at the officers, and Officer Bush and a detective were struck. Officer Bush died at the scene, but the detective recovered. Officer Bush was survived by his wife and 2 children. He is buried in Holy Cross Cemetery.
Huh.
30 years old. Man, that sounds like a riot today.
It
that's
does.
Going on. It didn't say
Yeah.
what they were rioting about or what they were upset about. This is Virginia. I wonder if it's political.
It might have been. That's what I'm thinking, too.
What it was.
Yeah.
March 20th, 1870.
Huh. So interesting.
Yes. Anyways, what do you have, Gary?
Well, this is Deputy Sheriff Jeremy McCain. And I actually have 2 here, Tim, and they're both from Oklahoma.
Okay.
And they both deal with car accidents.
Car accidents.
They
on the
passed
same day.
away.
When was that?
So end of watch, March 20th, 2023.
So 1 year ago today.
1
2
year ago.
officers in Oklahoma both died in car accidents.
Yeah.
Different agencies?
Different agencies, yeah. One, so this deputy sheriff, Jeremy McCain, Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office, and Patrolman Joseph Barlow from the McAllister Police Department in Oklahoma there. So this first one was leaving the school campus. This is Jeremy McCain when his patrol vehicle struck a partially opened gate, and he was driving less than 10 miles per hour.
That's crazy.
So slow.
So he was just, yeah.
The gate crashed through his front windshield and pinned him in the vehicle. And so he was...
What time of day was that? Does it say?
It doesn't say what time of day.
What if it was at night and he just didn't see it?
Yeah. Leaving the school campus, though, so I don't know. Yeah, could have been a game, or it could have been...
Yeah, it could have been. It could be an SRO officer. He could live there, or he could have caught a call for a burglary or something. Who knows? Okay.
But
Man,
he was transported to the hospital, and he passed away 10 days later. He had served with the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office for 11 years, and he is survived by his son. So 36. Wow. Very young.
That's too bad.
And Patrolman Joseph Barlow, he was struck head-on while escorting a funeral procession for a member of his department who had passed away. So this officer, so a pickup truck crossed the center line and struck his patrol car head-on. And he was transported to a hospital where he succumbed to his injuries 3 days later. The driver of the truck was arrested and charged with causing an accident without carrying a driver's license, reckless driving, and causing great bodily injury. First-degree manslaughter was charged after Patrolman Barlow passed away. So,
Wow.
My goodness. He was 26.
26 years old.
His tour, 1 year, 7 months, so not very long.
Wow. That's too bad.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, let's before I go on, I want to mention the fundraiser coming up.
Yes.
In just a couple months. Moose Ridge Coffee, the Strong Blue Line Foundation fundraiser at Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing. That's just next to Stockman's Restaurant. A percentage, Gary, of all sales will go to support the Strong Blue Line Foundation.
That's
So there
fantastic.
you go. You can have a cup of coffee and support us as well.
Yeah.
Support our
Strong Blue
Foundation.
Line. Yep.
That's cool. May 13th through 18th, which is Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Daily from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yeah, I'm looking forward
Sherry
to
and
that.
I plan on being there
Yeah.
on a Friday and Saturday.
I'll come by, say hi,
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'll be cool. So, yeah, come on out to that. So, we talked about this. Law enforcement officer and musician Chris Darlington set to release another hit single. So he already has one. He's going to do another hit single. And actually, he already released this. This was released last month, on the 24th last month.
Yeah.
This comes from Law Enforcement Today by Eddie Molina. Last month, Chris Darlington, an active duty law enforcement officer and rising country music performer, tugged at the heartstrings of America and its law enforcement officers with his song "Hold That Line."
Yeah, I had no idea he was an LEO. That's
Oh,
interesting.
really? You didn't,
Yeah.
so you'd heard the song. You didn't know that, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So do you play that song on the rev here?
I do not.
That's not our genre here.
No.
Not our genre. Okay, hold that line. Not our genre. It's a reminder to everyone within the law enforcement. Gary, you listen to a lot of music, don't you? Different
do.
genres.
Yeah.
You listen to the
genres,
whole.
yeah.
I mean, as a DJ, I guess that's good. That's you know a lot about different genres of music as a DJ. I said station manager. That dates me. A DJ. Does he even know what DJ is for now? A lot of young people say, "Oh, disc jockey." Oh, long time ago when you used to have the CDs and the disc. No, it was actually before that.
Right.
Records were considered calling disc jockeys,
right?
Because they're discs. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah. So, anyways, I digress. It's a reminder to everyone within the law enforcement community that we're all here for each other and that we have each other's six. The song reminds us that for each officer who dons the uniform and prepares to walk the beat for their shift, there are countless officers right behind you who will be there for you when you need them. And when things get tough and when they get dicey, and they will, these officers will get together and hold that line. Gary, and that's so true and that's so good, but also that's reinforcing that culture, that police culture.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's only officers going to be here for you. Unfortunately, there's a lot of truth to that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because the public, the mass majority of the American public who do support officers, is not that they don't want to get in help, they just don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
And they take a hands-off approach because they don't want to mess something up. They don't want to get in the way. Perhaps they're just scared. It's not they don't want to. It's just that things are holding them back. Anyways, and it's much needed song given the last few years in America. Since 2020, it seems like we've been living a bad dream, a crazy election and the absurd defund the police movement, you name it, Chris told Law Enforcement Today in an exclusive statement. So they interviewed Chris here, and they give him some information. The law enforcement profession has faced extreme hardship since 2020 due to the increased scrutiny, public distrust, and liberal mainstream media anti-police rhetoric in response to the George Floyd incident. Despite these challenges, it's crucial to support police officers who uphold their duty to serve and protect their communities with integrity and professionalism. And that's so true. That's
really
critical.
Is. Yeah,
to
I agree.
support officers. And I know, I really appreciate you and the Rev and Water Springs here supporting our officers. And so that's really encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
Officers play a vital role in maintaining public safety, law and order, and protecting the American way of life. And Hold That Line is the embodiment of that. But Chris Darlington isn't finished. He's just getting started. Do you think he's going to step away from being a police officer?
Well, that's kind of
is
what I was thinking. Can you imagine, even he's up and coming, and we've talked about schedule and balance, and
yeah,
I just can't imagine being a musician, even now. It's you still got to find time to get in the studio and write your songs, and
it's a lot of work being a musician.
Man, it really is.
They work. I mean, the successful guys.
Yeah, they
work and probably to their own detriment.
Right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, because they're always doing something on the road.
Yeah. So then you've got law enforcement on top of that.
If he's doing this, he's probably doing it at a good time. In I can say it this way. He could probably, I'm not sure what his retirement is and stuff, but he may be able to step away from his agency and go try to make it.
Right.
If he doesn't make it 2 or 3 years from now, and the way things are going,
they
give his job right back to him.
That's true.
Somebody will give him a job in policing.
Yeah.
He'll be able to do that. Back in my day, if you walked away from it,
you're done,
man.
Yeah.
You can get hired on somewhere else, but I think, so I'm not sure what he's doing. Or maybe he's just like, no, I want to be a police officer. I'll just do this on the side. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll see. But he's doing another one, and it says here that he's writing a song that's going to be released. It's already been released. It was released on February 23rd, so it was released about a month ago. And the title of it here is "Before Our Great Country Is Gone." Chris Darlington's new hit single, "Before Our Country Is Gone," is another moving reminder to everyone in America that we must all buckle down and save our country. Between the ineffective White House, a bumbling president, and an open border that's crippling the country, some crime rates exploding across the country, and communism creeping into American policy, there's a lot to be concerned about. Now, that all that comes from Eddie Molina. And this is an editorial we're reading, let you know.
Yeah, that's right.
The Rev.fm does not necessarily support all the opinions given on this program.
That's right.
Anyways, let's continue on. And there's no denying that America is in turmoil. I don't think anybody can deny that, whether you're right, left, or in the middle, or whatever. Divided right down the middle and is on the brink of crumbling itself, the editorial says. But it's not there yet, and there is still time to save it with God. That caught my attention. I thought, okay, that's, it kind of reminds me of a book.
It does.
Saving America. You ever heard of that book?
Yeah, I have heard about that book.
Heard of that book, Saving America. Available.
Yeah, I know the author.
Yeah, so, and my book about that, and, saving America. The only thing that's going to save America is not a president. It's not a political party.
No.
It's the Lord. It's God, the gospel is going to save America. So get a copy of that book. With God behind us and the willingness of every American to come together, we can save our great country. And that's what Before a Great Country Is Gone is all about. Chris said this, quote, "I feel like the song is relatable to people, but the message is clear. We need to get God back in the country." That is so true, Gary.
I like that.
I was really impressed when I read that. That's okay, good. This guy, here's a law enforcement officer, a country music. What I like about country, Gary, my favorite genre, I'd listen to other things, but my favorite genre is country music.
Right.
And what draws me to country music, it tells stories.
Yeah.
It's stories about the country, story about people.
Yeah.
Whether it's a love gone bad, whether it's, a love song, if you will. I listen to Pandora sometimes, and I'll send my wife Pandora songs. I'm thinking of her, and I'll send them to her and stuff, and she appreciates that. No, I don't send her Tammy Wynette's DIVORCE. No, that's not what I sent her.
I thought that was coming out there, Tim. I was waiting for it.
No, it's the love songs.
Okay.
It's the good love songs I send her.
Whew.
Okay.
Glad you
Get that cleared up.
Yeah, cleared that up.
So I thought that was good of Chris
cool.
to do that. Yeah. In fact, the hit song was an instrumental sound reminiscent of the country music scene of the 1990s, which is symbolic of the good times nearly every American experienced in that decade. So I listened to some of Chris's music, and I told you, Gary, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I don't really care for that subgenre, if you will.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it, of country music?
Yep.
You know, it's kind of the upbeat, faster kind of songs like Alan Jackson,
Right.
stuff like that. That's just not my.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more into old style.
Yeah.
I mean, all them old guys. Well, George Strait. Well, he is an old guy now, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know. But I'm in that older.
Kenny
traditional.
Rogers, yeah.
Yeah, not the old stuff from the 40s and 50s, but 60s,
Yeah.
70s, and 80s.
Mhm.
That kind of stuff. And that era. Anyways, in the 90s, everyone was working. The once great cities enjoyed relative peace, and all Americans loved and supported the police. I would have to take issue with that. I was a policeman in the 90s. A police officer could enforce the law and protect our communities without the fear of the incident using justifiable force would become politicized. Not as much as it is now.
Right.
I will grant him that.
Yep.
But there were still people that didn't like the police back then. And he said, but that's not coming from Chris. That's coming from Eddie Molina.
Mm-hmm.
But not anymore. Many police officers are more hesitant to enforce laws due to potential blowback from the public, the press, and liberal politicians. And I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
And this sets a dangerous precedent. Without officers routinely enforcing the law, the country will become unstable and could fall entirely apart. And it's heading that direction. Gary, there's so much tension in the air.
There really is.
With everything going on, especially this being an election year, with the different parties and how far apart they are from one another.
They really are.
It used to be, the whole country was pretty much on the same page as far as foreign policy and who our enemies are. When we were against Germany, boy, everybody's against Germany.
Right.
When we were against Russia, boy, everybody's against Russia. But now it's like,
Divided.
we can't figure out that Israel's our ally.
Mm-hmm.
When they're not the bad guy, and different things going on. It's just, and then you get down to, local politics and what's going on and crime and people's
Right.
concerned about that and people crossing the border. I think we're finally starting to get to where the majority of Americans are saying this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
People screaming across that border. So many people. We've heard the things. Remember that a young lady, Kuwait, that was killed,
Mm-hmm.
an illegal immigrant.
Yep.
Is responsible for that, and it's just terrible.
It is very terrible.
And then if he ends up here, Eddie Molina says, but Chris Darlington knows that there is still time for America to do a course correction. It all starts with God. And that is so critical. I listened to that song, and he talked in the song about turning the ship.
Mm-hmm.
We can still turn the ship around. And when you turn a large ship, it doesn't turn quickly.
Right. It takes some
But
time.
you got to start turning it.
Yep.
And when you get sideways to the wind, it's going to be some rough waters.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get that ship turned in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And so that is so critical.
Mm-hmm.
And the way things are going. We got another article here, and this is from Texas City, Austin. You've heard of Austin?
Hey, Austin.
Named after Stephen F. Austin.
Stephen F.
Gary, no, this
Austin.
was not
Dang
named
it.
after you. You grew up and your dad telling you that city was named after you.
Yeah,
or did he
all
say it was
along.
named? I know, he's a policeman. He's probably told you it was named after him.
That's true. All along, I thought I was a Texan. No.
Austin, the capital of Texas, had an entire section of the city patrolled by had an entire section not even patrolled or unpatrolled by even a single officer of the Austin PD for several hours on Saturday, according to Austin Police Association President Mark Bullock. The union president blamed the city's ongoing staffing shortage that began in March of 2023 with officers quitting the force en masse. Remember we talked about Austin, what was going on down there, and the shootings and the indictments and the 17 officers? That officers are quitting that agency.
Right.
I read through this. I couldn't believe what was going on here. Taken to X, which is formerly Twitter, on Saturday, Bullock said, and this is back from last month, a month ago, February 22nd. Taken to X on Saturday, Bullock shared the troubling report that the entirety of the eastern Austin sector was totally unpatrolled for 2 hours, noting that the APD backfield shift composed of detectives and specialty units had to pick up the slack. So what they mean by that, detectives generally work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Generally, that's where they work. Administrative officers, that's what they do. But then on weekends, they've been calling into work to work overtime to backfill these positions.
Oh.
And there wasn't anybody there.
Wow.
Staffing woes continue, he wrote. Now remember, this is coming from Bullock, the union president for the Austin PD. It says, due to our staffing levels being at 2006 levels, it's almost 20 years ago, an entire sector of East Austin went 2 hours without a patrol officer assigned to the sector today. Our backfill shift made up of detectives and specialized units pulling double duty had to provide coverage. Bullock pointed out that pointed directly to the staffing woes that have been beset in the department, with the APD reducing it to 2006 staff levels when the population was 250,000 less. Wow.
That is just crazy.
Anyway, it says here, as observed by Fox News, Bullock, this is Fox 7 Austin, Bullock had criticized the city just days before when the downtown day shift was suddenly undermanned. Listen to this, Gary. Because 4 of the 6 assigned officers were pulled away to perform guard duty for the city council.
Oh, my goodness.
So they have a section downtown that was manned by 6 officers. They pulled 4 of them away. 2/3 of them to go be guard for the city council. Why does the city council have to have police protection?
Exactly.
Because the city's running amok. Oh, brother. Bullock told the outlet that the department is undermanned by about 500 officers. Compared to the past staffing levels of 700 to 800 officers under the staffing levels called for the studies. So they said, the studies say there should be 700 to 800, but he's saying we're already 500 now.
Wow.
In May of 2023, the staffing shortfall at that point had already reached 300 vacancies, despite an approved APD budget of almost $450 million. Speaking to Fox, Bullock summarized, quote, "The negative actions by prior councils and elected officials have gotten us to the point where we are in a crisis mode just trying to respond to 9/11 calls. We've abandoned units, mandated that the detectives pull double duty, and not only investigating their cases, but also responding to 9/11 calls, consolidated shifts and more. We've bent over backwards, try to keep our city safe because we care about the people who visit and call Austin home. But we can only bend so much before breaking." He added with finality, "The bottom line is that we are on an unsustainable path." So
that is very unfortunate because they're right. It's before breaking. I mean, it's officers leaving the force, and so that's tough on the officers.
And when you have that I think his name is Garcia, the DA there, that was indicting all these officers and stuff, man, and they're leaving. You wonder why.
Exactly.
They're going to go get jobs elsewhere.
Yeah.
A lot of officers have come from other agencies to Idaho Falls PD and Vaudeville County.
Right.
A lot of guys are moving here. The pay's not as good, but the living's a lot better.
Yeah, it sure is.
And the public supports our police officers here. Thank the Lord for that.
Yep, and hopefully the pay will get better. That's
it has
important.
increased. It has increased.
Yeah.
It needs to come up some more, but it's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for listening in. If you have a topic or question you want to address on Cop Talk, please send me an email. You can email suggestions, questions, comments, or complaints to coptalk@therev.fm. That's coptalk@therev.fm. Thought from the good book today: woe to those who go down to Egypt for their help and rely on horses, who trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But do not look to the Holy One of Israel or consult the Lord. Thank you for joining us, and help us to make the thin blue line a strong blue line.
Cop Talk is presented by the Strong Blue Line Foundation and sponsored by Moose Ridge Coffee in Snake River Landing, Idaho Falls. Questions and comments are always welcome by email to coptalk@therev.fm. Listen, follow, leave a review, and share this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or YouTube. And visit thestrongblueline.org to learn how you can be a supporter. Cop Talk is a Rev FM production, produced and edited by Gary Austin. Thank you for joining us on Cop Talk.